And look, it's evening. Before I know it, the day has passed. Doing nothing can sure be exhausting. As I'm about to go into the kitchen to grab a snack, my phone rings. It's a call from Nikki. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen her all day. Of course I answer. Hello?
Thank God you're home.
Oh no, that sounds terrible. She speaks quickly and seems almost out of breath.
Can you pick me up from the bookstore?
Her voice is garbled and I can hardly make out what she's saying. What? She pauses and there's a lot of movement on the phone before she speaks again, but I could hear her perfectly well. Maybe they should have edited the voice clip a bit.
Please, can you get me?
Where are you?
At the bookstore.
Her voice is clearer, but she sounds scared. Something doesn't seem right. Alright, I'll be there in a few minutes. Nikki sighs in relief.
Thanks.
We hang up the phone and I hurry back to my bike. Nikki would tell me if she were in danger. Wouldn't she? I try not to dwell on the thought, but pick up speed anyway. Luckily, traffic is on my side and I arrive a few minutes earlier than anticipated. Nikki waits for me beneath a street lamp a few feet away from the bus stop. I can make out Ken's dark mop of hair beside her. It's a little strange that she's not under the bus awning. And what's Ken doing there? Nikki straightens up as I slow down. Flecks of blood stains her clothes and dark bruises mark her skin. Ken steps into the light to greet me, and I wince when I see him. His left eye and cheek is puffy and starting to turn purple. Blood drips down his face from a cut at his temple. He must have tried to clean it because his forehead is smeared with streaks of red. What the heck happened here? I park my bike and rush over to them. Nikki throws her arms around me and hugs me tightly.
So glad you're here.
Oh my gosh, Nikki, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're bleeding.
No, the blood's not mine.
Is it Ken's?
No.
You look like heck. He tries to smile, then dabs at a swollen lip, his finger now stained with fresh blood. He holds himself stiffly and leans on the lamppost for support.
He saved me from those guys.
What guys?
I don't know. There was a group of them. 3, I think, waiting for the bus. And when they showed up, they started saying all these things about me. They were being so gross and creepy, but I tried to ignore them because I figured the bus would be there soon and it wouldn't matter.
But then you'd be sitting with them.
And then one of the guys tried to put his arm around me. I freaked out. I guess I pushed him and he got really angry. And then the other guy grabbed me and...
My blood runs cold. Yeah, pretty much. He what? Or he what? Did he hit you? Are you hurt?
No.
At least not physically. Nikki's voice trembles and her eyes glitter with tears. I'm about to pull her back into a hug when Ken slips his hand into hers and squeezes.
Ken intervened before anything could have happened.
She glances at Ken, smiling broadly.
He came barreling out of the bookstore, screaming at that guy to let me go. And then he punched him right in the face.
Good guy, Ken.
The guy was super angry, and he and his friends ganged up on him.
How did you get your bruises then? She frowns.
I tried to stop them from ganging up on Ken.
You what? What were you thinking joining the fight? You could have been seriously injured. Nikki sets her jaw.
There was no way I was going to let Ken fight them alone. Especially not when this fight only happened because of me.
I'm too stunned by her outburst to reply. Of course I'm not pleased that she put herself in danger, but a part of me is also a little proud.
But I didn't really need to help.
I raise an eyebrow.
Ken beat 2 of them up by himself. The 3rd one had to help them up so they could escape.
Dang, alright. What? I look skeptically, sorry, I was busy looking at his left hand that you can see hanging down there. It just looked a little weird, like long. I look skeptically at Ken. I wouldn't say he's scrawny, but he's no muscle man either. Ken shifts nervously. I think I still make him uncomfortable.
I have some experience with martial arts.
Ken Doe?
What do you mean, some experience? You're a 2nd dan black belt.
I know what that means. He's a what? I certainly was not expecting that. You threw yourself in harm's way to protect Nikki?
Of course.
Ken maintains eye contact and answers with conviction. Nikki blushes.
Anyway, I told Ken he should go back inside, but he refused.
It's not safe for her to wait alone.
I take another look at Ken. Respect, no way he fought 3 guys alone, I should have been here. There's a fire in his eyes I'd never noticed before. When he looks at Nikki, he's in that timid kid trembling in his boots. He looks like someone who's willing to move mountains. I meet his eyes and nod. Thanks for being there for her. He blinks in surprise, but nods back.
I only did what anyone would have done.
Don't be so modest. You were amazing out there.
Ken shrugs awkwardly, then winces in pain. Are you sure you're okay, though? Maybe we should take you to the hospital. Ken shakes his head, or he, rather.
I'm fine. Nothing's broken.
I look him over. I don't know about that.
I told him we should call an ambulance, but he refused.
I promise, I'm okay. I'm sorry for causing you such trouble.
This is one of those rare times I wish my bike could fit more people. Do you at least have a ride home?
He let me call his brother to come pick him up.
We'll wait here with you until he arrives.
I appreciate the thought, but I would feel more at ease if you took Nikki home.
I mean, if we're not going to assist, then at the very least, right? If you don't want us to wait with you, will you at least let us walk you back into the bookstore? It should be safer in there.
I'm sure your coworkers will let you back in. They're probably wondering what happened to you anyway.
You work there? Ken nods. Then let's definitely get you back inside. Realizing he's fighting a losing battle, Ken agrees.
Okay.
Nikki and I go to support him, but he manages to walk by himself. As we head into the bookstore, his coworkers rush out to help, each asking questions about what happened. Nikki and I sit with Ken as we wait for his brother to arrive. Nikki fusses over Ken and he lets her. As I watch the two of them, I pay close attention to Ken. He's calm, respectful, and polite. But most importantly, he makes Nikki smile. I don't know if that's most important, but right now, okay, so like this is the time right now that I have a choice to either support their relationship or to not. And so far, everything that I've seen says that Ken is a good guy and a good guy for Nikki, you know? I haven't seen any times where he has pushed the boundaries. It seems like he really does care for Nikki. It seems like he really does respect Nikki. I feel at this point that, you know, in their relationship, he would be careful not to go too fast. And I feel like if Nikki were to tell him to stop, he would stop. That's the feeling that I'm getting from Ken as they're portraying him so far. So I really do think right now that he is a good choice for Nikki, you know, willing to put himself in harm's way to protect her. And then again, you know, just, it seems like he genuinely cares. And I think that he would respect her if she ever needed space, you know. I could be wrong, because, I mean, they can be kind of unpredictable. And in video games, you know, anything can happen. But I feel like he's a good guy, so I'm going to let him know. Hey, Ken, can I talk to you for a second? He looks up at me with wide eyes, the very same expression that he wore the first time I met him.
Sure.
Amused, I lead him to a quiet area behind the shelves. I'm trusting you to take care of her. He blinks blankly before his eyes open wide again. As his face goes pink, he bows at a perfect 90-degree angle.
Of course. Thank you for your trust.
You don't have to bow. He returns to an upright position.
Sorry.
Don't apologize.
Sorry.
I glare at him and he shuts up. This is kind of fun. I think I may actually enjoy this turn of events. Okay, let's go back. I guess that was absolutely all I had to say. Nikki bombards us with questions as we return.
What was that all about? Why wasn't I invited? Why did Ken bow?
Yeah, Ken, why did you bow? I grin devilishly at him, daring him to answer.
It's because he's, my senpai?
I was wondering if he'd say that. Nikki stares at him blankly, then shifts her attention to me.
What did you do?
Nothing at all. Isn't that right, Ken?
Of course.
Nikki pouts, but I can see the trace of a smile. I guess she's glad we're finally getting along. A few minutes later, Ken's brother shows up. He convinces Ken to go to the hospital and thanks us for our help. With Ken safe, we head home. So we did end up waiting there with him until his brother arrived. Haha, they both led to the same thing, maybe. I mean, I guess I don't know what insisting would have done. But yeah, Nikki lets out a huge breath when we step into the living room. Her face is unusually serious. She hangs her head and stares at her feet.
I'm so sorry.
Why?
If I hadn't gone to visit Ken, I wouldn't have lost track of time and stayed out so late. And then I wouldn't have gotten into this mess and made everyone worry.
Nikki, what happened wasn't your fault. She glances up at me.
But if I...
No, none of this is your fault. What happened is the fault of those guys, and if I ever find out who they are, I'm going to finish what Ken started. Nikki smiles weakly and nods.
I think I'll go take a shower.
Sure. As soon as Nikki goes upstairs, Kaito pops his head out of the kitchen.
Is Nikki gone?
Yeah. He pauses and gives me another look.
Did something happen?
I debate telling Kaito about the incident, but I don't want him to needlessly worry. He looks like he had something else on his mind. It's fine, what's up? No! Tell Kaito what happened, idiot!
I heard back from the PI.
What did he say?
Ezra Wilson.
The drunk driver?
Yeah, what do you really know about him?
He and Dad used to work together at Midori Energy. They were on every project together, and he used to come to the house all the time while we were growing up. I thought he and Dad were friends. My voice trails off. His blood alcohol was far over the legal limit. It's not like the cops could ask him about it due to his coma, nor was there any evidence which indicated this was more than a cut-and-dry drunk driving accident. There was no incentive to investigate further, so that was all that was listed in the report.
Well, it turns out Ezra was stalking your father.
Oh. I frown. That doesn't make sense. They saw each other every day at work. Why?
The PI read about a huge fire at Midori Energy the week before your parents' accident. He spoke to a few people and found out that the fire destroyed important documents which contained all the research from Midori's latest project.
Oh. I rack my brain. I think I might remember hearing something about that fire.
The documents which were destroyed was your father's and Ezra's research.
Dad's research? I try to recall Dad right before the accident. He seemed a little more worried than usual, but otherwise didn't give any indication that something was amiss. Did he start the fire on purpose? Shouldn't he have been devastated by something like losing years of research? Was he trying to protect me, or was something else going on?
Ezra didn't take the loss well. Right after the fire, Ezra accused your father of purposely sabotaging him by setting their research on fire.
Yeah? It's plausible for sure. Dad wouldn't do that. It was his research too.
Right. It didn't make sense. Nobody believed him and they chalked up his breakdown to stress. But he wouldn't let it go. He accosted your father many times at work demanding answers. It got so bad that he was assigned a leave of absence by the company. On the day of the accident, your parents had lunch at a cafe.
Nikki called them asking for a ride. Yeah, I remember.
The PI asked the waitstaff if they remembered seeing your parents there, and they did. Ezra too.
He was there?
Yeah, he'd followed them there and was already clearly intoxicated. He demanded that they pay him all the money he would have made upon completion of the project.
He said your father owed him.
Obviously, your father refused and continually maintained his innocence. Ezra became so disruptive, the manager had to forcibly remove him from the cafe.
Your parents seemed shaken, but tried to finish their meals as if nothing happened.
That's when they received the call from Nikki.
And I guess Ezra tried to tail them, but ended up running them off the road. Kaito nods, looking more grim than ever. Something doesn't add up. What research is important enough to kill over? And if Ezra was driven to madness after losing his life's work, why was Dad barely affected? Then there's the convenient timing of Akira's copycat core. How much time has passed since the accident? Since the fire? Enough for the company to piece together just enough of the research to turn a profit. Oh, that was not a question. Uncle Kaito. He looks at me. I think the research that killed Dad has to do with my core. He hesitates, then nods slowly. I thought we knew that already.
You might be right.
I just assumed that was something we had already established. Wasn't there an encrypted piece that Valerie wasn't able to unlock? Maybe that can help make sense of all of this. I need to take another look at it. I need to go look at my core. Uncle Kaito doesn't try to stop me.
You do what you need to do.
Just be safe. Thanks, Uncle Kaito. For the second time today, I race to the garage and hop back on my bike. Then I drive to Ace. The campus feels even more empty than usual. Even though it's after hours, I have no trouble swiping into the hangar. All is quiet except for the sound of my footsteps. I cannot get to Eagle fast enough. As soon as I do, I plop down at the terminal and boot up the computer. I follow the instructions Valerie left for me, and I'm greeted by the password prompting screen she showed me earlier. She said there was a hint here. Let's see what it says. The screen is a scrambled mess of words with no rhyme or reason to them. I read through a couple of times, making sure my eyes don't skip any words. Most of these words mean nothing to me, but a select few stand out. Cricket, Moo, Sir Hopsalot. Those were childhood nicknames Dad gave me. Each one of them has a story, but none of them were very long-lived. The ultimate nickname that stuck with me for an embarrassing long time was Meatball, because when I was born, my cheeks were big and round like meatballs. Dad's favorite story to tell was the time I started school. The teacher called Riz for roll call, and I stayed silent, so she marked me absent. After she'd gone through the list of names, I said she didn't call mine. She asked if my name was Riz, and I responded with, "No, my name is Meatball." "Really? How young were you?" I'd been called Meatball at home for so long that I didn't even know my real name. That is depressing. That must be the answer. I apprehensively type in Meatball into the password prompt. My finger hovers over the enter key before pressing it. The prompt disappears and a video pops up on the screen. My breath catches in my throat as Dad looks straight into the camera. There are dark circles under his eyes and worry lines around his mouth. His hair sticks up at odd angles and his clothes are smudged with dirt and oil. He notices the recording light is on and tries to fix himself up a bit before giving me a weak smile.
The fact that you are watching this now means something must have gone wrong.
He sighs, and his voice grows thick.
I'm sorry.
I try to swallow the lump in my throat and ignore the sting of tears in my eyes. This isn't the Dad I remember. The Dad I remember had a booming laugh which took up the room. He was sure of himself and never had regrets.
By putting this technology in Eagle, I have potentially endangered you. But I don't know where else I can keep it safe. Midori Energy doesn't fully understand the scope of this research. They're willing to sell it to anyone without considering the consequences.
Fair, yeah.
Companies which would weaponize this technology will cause irreparable damage. They could create energy explosions 13 times the force of a nuclear bomb.
That is many times the force. He sets his jaw and lifts his gaze back towards the camera. His eyes are unusually steely and cold.
That's why I caused the fire. I burned all copies of my research to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands.
But Dad runs his hands through his hair, a gesture he would do whenever he was stressed or worried.
It's hard to completely destroy 20 years of research. Especially when this technology could bring so much good. The possibilities would have been endless. This new format of energy may function similarly to existing methods, but the fundamental principles are vastly different and have far wider scalability implications.
A shadow of his old self returns while he talks, and I catch a glimpse of a genuine smile. Dad was always a bit of a dreamer, yeah. Then his face becomes grim.
And that is why this core is sitting in Eagle now.
His piercing gaze stares straight into my soul.
I'm sorry for getting you involved. I'm sorry I couldn't follow through with what I started. But most of all, I'm sorry I wasn't able to tell you this in person.
Why did the sound start up again? His eyes look glassy and glitter too much beneath the light. Yeah, okay, just making sure I read that right.
I probably don't say this enough, but I'm so proud of who you've grown up to be.
Yay.
I know, if you're watching this, that I've put a heavy burden on your shoulders. But I trust you will make the right decision. My only hope is that you can find it in your heart to forgive me.
I don't know what the decision is. Dad glances behind me. Something must have spooked him because when he faces the camera again, he smiles feebly and his voice is quiet.
Take care of your sister. Goodbye, son.
The video cuts off abruptly. At first, I'm too stunned to move. The image of Dad is seared into my eyes. He was the same, yet so unfamiliar. As his face slowly fades away, I'm surprised to feel wetness on my cheeks. He knew. He knew exactly what he was doing when he hid this technology inside of Eagle. And now I understand why I wasn't allowed to help program the core. I understand why Dad seemed almost obsessive about completing Eagle. It also makes sense why I never noticed a difference between this core and any other core. Dad never matured the technology. But he must have set up the overdrive configuration probably not long before he set the overdrive to only happen once, so I begin to search for answers. His last words ring in my mind. Goodbye, son. He knew the implications of his research and entrusted it all to me through the gear we built together. I glance over at Eagle, partially obscured by shadows. The darkened blue no longer seems warm and inviting like the salty spray of the ocean, but feels dangerous and cold like a winter sky. I try to bring up the video once more so I can hear his voice one more time, see his face, even though it's not the one I want to remember. But I can't. It was a one-time initiation. As I tried to process the situation, I don't know what to feel. I recall Dad's hollow cheeks and the shadow of pain in his eyes. Of one thing I am certain. I cannot keep using the core knowing all this. But what will I do about the research? Sometimes Dad thought too much about the big picture and forgot about the details. He wanted to create a better future for us and was willing to die to make his dreams a reality. If only he could have seen that the future we wanted was one with him in it. I don't want Dad's sacrifice to have been in vain. I want him to achieve his dream. I climb up the ladder beside Eagle and open the cockpit. Then I key in the sequence which unlocks the panel protecting my core. Like a beating heart, it gives off a faint pulse of energy. I open the terminal screen in my cockpit and find the source information for my core. After collecting all the schematics and data into a drive, I set an impossible run instance. The low glow continues to brighten more and more. After a zapping noise, it becomes an opaque object. As far as anyone would know, the core short-circuited. This technology belongs to the company who will utilize it properly. Until I know who that is, I'll keep it safe with me and not bring any more attention to it. After learning all that I have, I can't keep using it as a leg up against the competition. Eagle will use a regular core from now on. As I stand there, I suddenly feel so tired and so lost. Without thinking, I pull out my phone and dial the first name that comes to mind.
Joseph, how's it hanging?
Do you think we could meet?
Oh, sure.
He sounds surprised.
Any place you have in mind?
Where are you now? I can meet you.
I'm just chilling in my room. Come on over.
Thanks. I'll see you soon. I wonder if there's a reason it called show first. Like, would it always call show, or does it matter, like, choices I make throughout the game? We hang up the phone. As if in a daze, I make my way towards his dorm. Sho greets me with a wide smile, but it drops as soon as he sees my face. He quickly ushers me in. I half-heartedly greet any of his dorm mates as we pass before we settle into Sho's room. I sit at his desk while Sho flops onto his bed.
What's going on? You seem tense.
I unconsciously, probably subconsciously, start to play with the drive in my hands.
What's that?
It's my core. He blinks, then laughs.
Very funny, but seriously, what is it?
The data from my core. Sho frowns.
What's it doing in there?
I didn't know where else to put it.
You could have left it in Eagle.
I sigh and share with Sho all that I've learned. My story comes out in pieces, and Sho continually asks questions to help him understand the order of events. Eventually, I finish my story.
Damn, that's intense.
I know. I'm not sure if I did the right thing. I acted emotionally, and maybe I should have taken the time to really think things through.
No way. You were right to do what you did.
You think so?
Without a doubt.
Whew. I let out the breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. A huge weight lifts off my shoulder. Just the one. I hadn't realized how anxious I was about this decision until someone else validated my choice.
Your dad might not have been able to make the decision himself, but he was right to trust you. You're like the most logical guy I know.
I grin weakly. Considering your version of logic, that's not too difficult to achieve.
Hey,
He matches my grin.
how are you doing otherwise?
It still sucks. I keep wondering about what could have happened.
I know it's easier said than done, but you've got to let it go. Once you give in to the what ifs, it's really hard to pull yourself back out. You end up obsessed. You don't even realize what you're doing until it's too late and life passes you by.
He shakes his head.
Then you would have just wasted the life your father fought so hard to give you.
He's right. Wondering about the impossible will only bring more heartache. I need to accept what's happened, take what I've learned, and move on. I nod. You're right. I can't let what I've learned bring me down. I'm lucky to have a friend who will always have my back. In this moment, I have clarity. I don't need to focus on the past because my future is worth exploring, and my friends will be with me every step of the way. Happy music and everything. Yes. That wasn't actually the end, was it? Was that actually the end? I liked the transit. That's a cute picture. That's a really cute picture. I really like that picture. I liked the transition with like the music and everything at the end there. But if this is actually the end, let me start by saying this. Being a visual novel, I'm well aware that there are many branches, many different routes that I could take. There were a lot of decisions to make throughout this, and, you know, like, so many different options I could have taken, so many different ways that this could develop, that kind of thing. That's a cute picture, too. But if this is the ending to the route that I was on, I am hugely disappointed. And I hate to say that, because I enjoyed this game. But that's not an ending. That's not an ending. That's not an ending. Actually, this basically just this ending artwork in general is cute. She's a pirate. Okay. I mean, it must be the ending because they're going through credits. They wouldn't. This game is not one to like psych the player out. They're not joking with me. But what was that? For complete credits, please see extra and then credits. I'm really hoping that there's more gameplay after this. I don't know why they would put credits if there's more gameplay, but I'm just desperately hoping there's more gameplay. Because this was terrible. Thank you for playing Ace. We hope you enjoyed it. We love to hear and incorporate player feedback into future projects, so please feel free to let us know your thoughts on the discussion boards or in a Steam review. With that formality out of the way, whew, what a ride it's been. For our original supports, thank you so much for sticking with us. For new players, welcome to the Pixel Fade family. While the adventure of Ace stops here for now, Pixel Fade is always exploring new options. Please feel free to check out what we are up to at pixelfade.com. Thanks again. It's just black right now. It's just a black screen. Do I click? Click? Da da da? Still here? There's nothing else! This isn't a Marvel movie where you get a special hidden teaser. Did I say special? A special hidden teaser. I get the feeling. I get the feeling I just set an expectation that we will have something after all this text. Look, I count nothing, so stop trying, okay? Just press escape or right-click that mouse button and be on your merry way. I'm left-clicking now. I'm just gonna keep going. Really? Still here? Okay, maybe I might have something to share. Are you ready? Here goes. Yeah, okay, you made me jump. Shut up. Ace Academy Supernova! Sorry, that's not actually a thing. Though I will say that mock reveal somehow ended up looking pretty cool, LOL. For realsies though, we are excited about the next visual novel currently in development. Check out pixelfade.com for details. Thanks again for playing. Goodbye! Goodbye. The game ends here for real? Your inner thought. Hold on, Pixel Fade! Did you really just end the game like that? Oh my gosh, are they actually doing it? Yes! No! Not acceptable! We're sorry! Ace is a crowdfunded project and we did our best given our resources. Actually, the length ended up almost twice as long than what we initially planned. We stretched out as long as we could. So if you had more resources, I could have had a longer game? Indeed, as an indie team, your support will directly impact the scope of our projects, including future ones. Alright, I'm moderately interested. How do I help? Please feel free to check us out on Patreon. Alternatively, we'll be crowdfunding our next project in the near future. Please consider pledging then. Okay, thanks for the info. No problem, Riz. Thanks for your consideration and understanding. Have a great day. Alright, let's talk about this game. I need to address the ending there. I get it. You were, limited on your resources. You're a crowdfunded project. That's great. I mean, I'm glad that you were able to get the support enough for what you have here. But, if you're limited on your funds, you make a shorter story. You don't make a longer game that just ends. This was not a story. It didn't have an ending. There was no resolution. I'm not satisfied. Again, I understand the struggles. If you have limited resources, there's only so much you can do. But here's something that I want you guys to do. And I know you won't, because I'm talking to someone who's never even going to watch this series or anything like that. But go and watch my Doki Doki Literature Club April Fool's video. Okay? Now, I'm aware, I did not create the base story of Doki Doki Literature Club. I did not create most of the assets that were used, the sprites, the music, things like that. But what I did was I spent the time, just me, working hard, and I tried to create a story. And what a story is it's something that has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Things happen. Drama can happen. But there's resolution to that drama and everything like that. You get it? You get me? You're following? Again, maybe you wouldn't be entirely satisfied with my story. The story that I presented in my April Fool's video for Doki Doki. It's Evan's route if you're gonna actually look it up. Anyone who's watching this now. But, at least, it has an ending. At least it has something that makes it feel like things are resolved. This ending was terrible. And I say that, guys, as a fan of this game. I enjoyed my time in Ace Academy. I have not played many visual novels. This is one of my first, and I really liked it. I liked what you guys were doing. I liked the different characters that you showed. I liked the little inside jokes, relating to the real world and everything. I liked the art style. I thought the music was good. I thought the concept of the world of Ace Academy was enjoyable. But the way that you ended it, I hate. Okay? I hate it. It's nothing. It's one thing that I didn't get any romance, alright? That's fine, I accept that. Kaori has Aito. I'm finally gonna pronounce it right. Kaori has Aito. Kaito has Yuki, which, not my kind of girl, but fair enough. Ken has Nikki. Mayu has Sho. Yuna has her jobs, I guess. Yeah, but you know, like, even Valerie apparently has a dude. And like, I get, you know, this isn't necessarily like a romance visual novel. That's fine. It's just a visual novel with romantic elements. And given the choices I made, I guess I didn't, you know, I didn't reach the point where I would have a relationship with anyone. That's fine. I would have been disappointed had I reached the end of the game without, you know, any kind of romantic subplot actually being fulfilled. But I can get it, you know, and I can leave it be. But to just have it like that, where it's like, it's all serious with the PI, with the investigation into Riz's parents. And then there's just the only resolution we had was the video. I have the data, and I made the decision. Or I guess I made the decision, then I have the data, you know, on the drive. And then talking to Sho. Even talking to Sho, time skipped a bunch of stuff. I mean, not time skip necessarily, but just gave a summary, like, I told Sho everything that was happening. I caught him up, you know, brought him up to speed. And then Sho, he did give us nice advice and everything. But the series shouldn't have ended there, because there was more to this game than just that, you know? What about all of the friends I made? Again, the relationships that I was kind of like spurring. What about, you know, my time at Ace Academy as a pilot? We just got through the pre-seasons. What about, you know, things with Akira? What about things like, how am I going to do with my team in future battles now that I have a normal core? How am I going to, like, overcome that? What's going to happen now that Illudian and other companies, thanks to Midori Energy, has that kind of core research? There are so many loops that are just like, so many things you created that you set into motion that now have no resolution at all. The world is just left unknown, you know? Like, there might always be something, because the world is dynamic and things can happen, and things will happen, things will bring about change and everything, but it just wasn't. There were way too many things left unresolved here, and the one thing that you kind of resolved as far as, like, yeah, we got the data from Eagle's Core, we learned that, you know, James, Riz's dad, destroyed the research himself because he was worried about how it was going to be used. That's the best resolution that you guys offered. And it's not like a resolution, it's just, oh, there's one answer to a part of a bigger mystery, you know? So again, I enjoyed the game. Thank you guys for creating it. I had a good time. I'm just really disappointed with how it ended. I think that if you had limited funds, then you should have instead taken a step back, reevaluated things, and tried to give us a good story regardless of length, you know? The length of a game doesn't, like, that's not how you value games. It's not the length that matters. It's what you get from it, what experience you have from it. And unfortunately, while I did have good experiences with Ace Academy, the ending soured it for me. I'm not saying that it's, like, terrible. I'm not gonna go and rate this 1 star on Steam or anything. But it made the experience worse. Because what it feels like now is that nothing that I did mattered in the end. That's how I feel at this point. All of the conversations that I had, all of the times I went and hung out with people, all of the fights that we had with our gears, you know, the fact that we as a team were getting closer, it feels like all of that was meaningless because of how this ended. You tried to wrap it up with, like, a couple sentences about how friends are so important and everything, but it didn't work for me. Maybe it did work for other people. Maybe I'm the only one thinking like this. But you guys knew this was coming, considering you threw that in at the end, talking to the black screen about, and then, you know, you promoted your Patreon, which is fine. You promoted your Patreon, you promoted your Kickstarter, you absolutely should. You guys do deserve it. You work hard and you put out good products from what I've seen here. But just, you gotta think more about what you're actually putting out. I feel like you can't be proud of the ending yourselves. I just imagine you're not proud of the ending, because it sucks, frankly. I'm sorry to say that, but it does suck. So I hope that with your future visual novel projects that you take that into consideration. I mean, I do hope first that you have more funds. I hope that you have everything that you need to create the best, like, vision, you know, possible, or the best manifestation of your dream, you know? I hope that you can make that happen. But if you can't, I hope you take these kinds of things into consideration. And I hope you take more care with it. Because I shouldn't be feeling like this at the end of your game. I'm sorry, but I shouldn't. So, anyway, at this point, I think I've... No! Gosh, I was about to wrap it up. I was about to end the video here. See, that left so much of an impact on me that I was just going to skip talking about other things that happened. And again, it's meaningless at this point. If there's no more with the game, does it matter that I say anything? I thought it was terrible that Nikki was being sexually harassed like that. If any of you guys in the comments act like that, if you feel you're entitled, if you feel that you can, you know, like, earn or deserve a woman's affection, cut it out, alright? Like, you don't. I agree that, like, I appreciated how that was handled with Ken, and I appreciated that the main character mentioned that it wasn't Nikki's fault, that it was their fault, the guys who did that, because that's absolutely true. I'll say that there are definitely things that women can do in order to be a little safer. You know, like, and part of that is about how you dress and, you know, when you go out. But that's not because that's who's to blame. It's just because men, some men, of course, but can be terrible. Women, of course, too. People, how about that? People can be terrible. But just sometimes with those terrible people, there are some things that entice them a little bit more. And so, you know, it's good to be safe, but I'm really glad that they pointed the blame appropriately at the harassers instead of at Nikki. You know, I'm glad main character wasn't like, you really shouldn't have gone out that, you know, like, I'm glad that he instead helped to comfort and empower Nikki than to try to spin the blame on her. Because people in those situations, it's not their fault. It's not. Don't victim blame, alright? Cool. As far as other things that happened, I don't know, we won, I guess, in that fight against Akira, but it didn't matter. I mean, again, I guess the Valerie thing, having a boyfriend, was really weird. I don't think she had a boyfriend. I don't think she would have acted that way throughout the whole game if she had a boyfriend. You know? I don't think she would have. I mean, honestly, I think that if anything, if the game were to continue, we'd later see that she had, like, texted a friend in order to make me jealous, you know, that her friend was posing as boyfriend to make me jealous, you know, kind of what she was already saying, but spinning it a little bit. But again, it doesn't matter, because we'll never know. So one more thing before we leave. Again, I am aware this game has multiple routes, multiple different branching options. And I probably could actually have an established relationship with some characters, and maybe I could see some resolutions to some things. But I'm not going to play it anymore on camera, at least. I might play it in my own time again, but not on camera. I just think that the execution ended up being poor, you know? I mean, let's say that I were to play it again using another route. What if it ended in the same kind of way? I'd just feel unfulfilled again, I feel, you know? Like, I might learn a little bit more taking that route, but that's a different story at that point. This is the story that I was doing, the Coyote route, that apparently ended up being a Friendship is Magic route, just in general. So I don't think I'd be satisfied, you know? I think that maybe on my own, I'll start a new game, pick Charismatic, and just pick the most perverted option every time it comes up, anytime it's available, and see how the story turns out on my own. But as far as playing it again in another committed fashion like this, I don't think so, so. Hey guys, so it's a few days after the fact, and you can tell by the change of attire, but I wanted to record something really quickly to fill you guys in. So as I said, I did actually follow through with it, and I started a new game playing a very douchebaggy, perverted, self-serving guy. So basically any dialogue option I had that was perverted or self-serving in some manner, you know, arrogant, whatever, I picked that option. And surprise, I got the ending that I was hoping for when I played through the first time. And so, you know, sorry if this spoils anyone, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Coyote's route, because that's what I ended up being able to do. So if you don't want to hear that, I guess turn off this video now. But what ended up happening was, well, I almost got it in my main game. I almost got it. There was one choice that I did differently that was apparently the wrong choice. I use quotes, but I guess it technically was wrong because it was the reason that I didn't get to pursue that relationship. But after the fight with Onabugeisha, you know, Mei's team, you get a follow after Coyote, you know, you check to make sure she's okay. and then you're given 3 options. I forget what the first one was, but the second one was embrace her, and the third one was console her, you know, comfort her. And so I would have been happy to embrace her, but I figured that, like, the thing is, not everyone wants to be embraced when they're not doing well, you know, or it depends on a lot of things, you know, one of those factors being the person who would be doing the embracing, and then just the surrounding context, you know, how they're feeling at the time, and, you know, what the surroundings, context is important, basically. But the thing is, you know, I picked console her because I wanted to be there for her, I wanted to comfort Cowdy, but I didn't want to, you know, disrespect her privacy, I suppose. That sounds weird to say, but the opposite of respect her privacy, right? Like, I wanted to respect her privacy was the thing, so I didn't want to just hug her. But, you know, when I was playing self-serving douchebag, of course he'd want to hug her. So I picked embrace her, and that's what you were supposed to do. You get another little image, and it's like, at first you resist, but you refuse to let go. You refuse to let go. But then, you know, she'll give in, and she'll hug you, and she's crying and stuff like that, right? So it ended up being positive, but, like, I don't want to force Cowdy into it, kind of thing. And that was, you know, the first time that's what I did, to avoid that. But, yeah, so it's just kind of dumb, because that was the only thing that set me, you know, set me apart from that. Like, that was the only reason that I wasn't able to have the relationship with Cowdy. And it was really cute, honestly, it was really cute. A couple things that changed is, one, at the Halloween party, she pulls you aside and you have a little private conversation. Some other little interaction differences with, you know, some of the other choices that you can make, like, at that party, too. Like, if you choose, I believe, to, if you sit on your lap, you know, I pick number whatever to sit on my lap, Valerie comes and does it, and then Cowdy gets, like, all jealous and yanks her off your lap and things like that. I don't know if she would do that normally, but she did that here, which was amusing. And then, you know, when you're working out, there's a whole thing after that that's a little more, a little more suggestive, you know, things like that. And then you get to go to an anime convention together, and it was just a lot of really cute stuff, and me liking Cowdy, I really appreciated that. And then how it ended, you know, it ended on a better note too, with like a good relationship moment with Cowdy, you know, a good couple moment there. And so that was really nice, and it did make the ending better. Now, the ending of this game is still bad. They still really had too many loose ends, too many things unresolved, and it just happened really abruptly. But I will say that if you have a relationship ending, it does seem at least better. Now, that could also be just because I knew what to expect at that point, like I knew that the game was going to end with that scene, because it happens at the same time. Just kind of, you know, different things surrounding the ending. So it was more satisfying, but it's still, you know, it still was a bad ending, you know? I mean, I thought it was really cute, but just the fact that there are still so many things left unresolved and everything, that even though you're ending on a nice relationship note, like the story, the game had so much more to it, you know? It wasn't just a romance visual novel. It was a visual novel with romantic elements, and so, like, just ending with that, like, that wasn't enough. And again, I know that they, Pixel Fate, are aware of that because they had that whole after the credit thing where they basically said, sorry, it was crowdfunded, we ran out of money. But I just wanted to point out that I did get the Cowdy ending, that it was really cute, and I wish I had gotten it in the normal, like, my normal playthrough, and, it was better than what I got with, like, that. It wasn't even the show ending, I don't think. I think it was just relationship-less ending. But it still wasn't great. I really liked it, but it still was a bad ending. You know what I mean? Alright, okay, back to Past Me. Thank you guys for watching this series. I hope that you enjoyed it. Frankly, I hope that you're in the same boat as me and you hated that ending, because just as far as storytelling goes, it was terrible. I'm sorry, it was just terribly done. But is that common for visual novels? Maybe it's common for visual novels. Again, I don't have experience with them. Maybe that's like par for the course, and maybe visual novels just have terrible endings in general. But I just was so not satisfied with that, and it's really frustrating for me because I like this game, you know? Anyway, let me know your thoughts on things in the comments below, and with that, we're calling it here. Cue outro, go!